people do stop dying, but
No, but
is
they
the
would.
ceasefire just a
But
dead
Ukraine,
end? Only time
Ukraine
show.
will have to give up territory. That's the basic point, Brahma Chellaney, because the advances that Russia has made on the eastern border of Ukraine include important territories like Donetsk, Kharkiv, Kherson, Luhansk, Mykolaiv, and several other territories. All these areas will become legitimized as Russian-controlled parts of Ukraine, because why would Trump back off? Why would Putin back off? He's got Trump on his side. He's cornered Zelensky. Zelensky is not getting any help from America. So he would probably also play hardball. Can this become all part of Russia, all these parts of Ukraine? What do you think? Will this be the eventual settlement, Brahma?
Yes, it will have to be, because 3 years of Biden presidency and deepening American involvement in the Ukraine war did not result in the Chinese aggression halting or the Chinese occupied areas shrinking. In fact, the Russian occupation of nearly 1/5 of Ukraine has remained more or less constant over the last 2.5 years, maybe almost 3 years since the war began, because these advances Russia made very early on, in the early weeks of its invasion. And Russia certainly has little incentive today to stop the fighting while it's making advances on the battlefield. So a 30-day ceasefire, which was Trump's original proposal, that may not be acceptable to Moscow. But if there could be a resolution of the conflict along the lines that Ukraine and Russia agreed to in Istanbul, that could end this conflict. But we should be clear about one thing. Trump talks about, the savage conflict in Ukraine. He says he wants to end it. He talks about it in altruistic terms for the good of the world. But that's not the reason why he's making this peace effort. He's doing it for the good of America. He is seeking to cut America's losses and prioritize the China challenge. This war, far from advancing the US objective to degrade Russian military power and derail Russia's economy through unprecedented sanctions and massive military aid to Ukraine, is distracting Washington from more pressing challenges and promoting an unholy Russia-China alliance against America. That's the reason why Trump is making this peace effort. This is America's own...
But are we saying Putin will walk away with a victory here? Will Putin walk away with a victory here? However, not correct that may sound for many Western years, will Putin walk away with a victory? Peter, with 4,000 square kilometers of Ukrainian land, which he's already sitting on and probably more, is this war going to end with Putin emerging as a stronger leader with an expanded Russia?
An expanded Russia, yes. A stronger leader, not so clear. This has not exactly been a feather in Putin's cap. The Russian military in the beginning looked very disorganized and very weak. It has rebounded now, but Putin's position in the world is a mixed one. He's strengthened his ties with the global South. He's got much, much closer to China. So what looked like a disaster for Russia in the first 6 months, 8 months, almost a year of the war has now turned around. The Russian military is performing much better, and Putin has a lot of support. But when I look what's going on inside Russia, the suppression going there, the lack of dissent, the jailing of people who have been critical of the war, Russia is not in a stronger position. Russia has been hurt by this also. The world has been hurt by this. Ukraine suffers the most, but I think the Russians have suffered quite a bit.
What does Ukraine get?